that's a different story. Nietzsche didn't write anything about the mysteries, and it was not through Nietzsche that I got turned in that direction.
But there's one thing in Nietzsche that kind of a little bit dovetails with this idea as well. I mean, he wrote about the concept of the Superman, for instance, and
Right.
and the Nazis have been, blamed for adopting this idea a little bit as well, and they were also, from their point of view, then steeped in the occult and have occult roots and so forth, and that this spawned this murderous, volatile political philosophy, pretty much. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. First of all, I want to say that I do not adopt or endorse Nietzsche's concept of the Superman in the sense of any kind of fascist or authoritarian super race theory or master race theory. Absolutely do not endorse it at all. I think it's despicable, and I have no interest in that. And I did not pick up that element in Nietzsche. I did not take Nietzsche's writings about the Superman in that direction. There are a number of key claims that are made about the mysteries and Gnostics in connection with the mysteries that really need to be corrected. And one of these is the claim of deification, that is, the turning of a human being into a god, or in the same sense, achieving a superhuman state. Something that you will often read in writings of scholars who expound about the mysteries, and also in talks of current people who are saying that there was something bad in the mysteries. They will both give you the same piece of information. They will say that the goal of initiation in the ancient pagan mysteries was some kind of deification. That is to say, the turning of the human being into a divine being, or the realization of some divine empowerment. Well, that is simply not the case. It is not the case in the sense that initiation in the mysteries would have fostered in people a sense of being superhuman or godlike and therefore superior to all other people. Not at all. The experience of initiation in the mysteries allowed those who underwent it to discover their own hidden powers, especially the hidden power of Nous or the Devine Intelligence. The point that I make, which no other scholar seems to have made, is that the elevation of human consciousness in the mysteries, the heightened awareness, was not an inflation of the ego to a godlike state. It was the discovery of one's divine intelligence. And that germ of divine intelligence exists in everyone. The mysteries were egalitarian movement. It's totally wrong to assume that they could have been the incubation tanks for elitist power freaks. It's totally wrong. There is no historical basis for that. That is a completely unfounded claim. As a matter of fact, history tells us that the mysteries were open to all people. They were open to everyone of every age or every class. Slaves could participate in the mysteries as well as emperors, and they did. So the mysteries were egalitarian, and they did not have at their heart any kind of agenda that can be remotely compared to an Illuminati, fascist, totalitarian control scheme. That is entirely false, and I would challenge anyone who has made that claim, for instance, David Icke, to come forth with the evidence that that was the case. When you go into the evidence that exists historically about the mysteries, you will find that they were not at all of that character. So that's one of the things that's concerned me lately, and we talked about this before the interview, is that you find this claim coming up more and more as people are exposing the agenda of the globalist elite, which I'm totally in favor of. At the same time that they're doing that, they're saying, oh, and by the way, don't you know that the ancient mystery religions were the source of all occult practices, and it was in these movements that the forerunners of this globalist elite learned their sinister game. Absolutely and totally wrong. And that's a very serious error to make, because as I said at the beginning of this talk, the mysteries are part of the solution. They are not part of the problem. And so if we contaminate them by association with the solution, I think we're going to be making a very serious error there.
Okay, well, there's a few points here then that we can talk about right away. If you look at the, basically about the expansion of the Roman Empire, again, a lot of researchers are drawing the connection between the Roman Empire and Christianity when we have the Christianization with the Constantine and so forth of the Roman Empire. Right. And then to a lot of researchers, the Roman Empire has a history in pagan religion. What can you say about that? Many people would then say, "Oh, look at that! That's evidence that the roots of the whole project here that began are actually pagan in their origin."
Yeah, well, Christianity through Constantine, and I have a comment about him coming up here in a minute. Christianity through Constantine, who effectuated the marriage of Christianity with the Roman state, has nothing to do with the indigenous paganism of the Roman people, the inhabitants of the empire. The inhabitants of the Roman Empire were many different nationalities: Italian, Spanish, or Iberian, Greek, even the Brythonic peoples of the British Isles, as you know, came under the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was a vast organization, but the populace of the Roman Empire were pagans. And when Constantine, was the first Christian emperor, right? Constantine was about as much of a Christian as George Bush,
Yeah.
That's the kind of Christian he was. Even his official historian, Eusebius, said of Constantine that he wasn't sure that his conversion was an act, a political act, or whether it was genuine.
Right.
But in any case, it had to be portrayed as genuine, because you have to write a good story about the people who are in power. I mean, even the historian who gave us that story of Constantine's conversion is admitting bald-facedly how phony it was. The purpose of that story was so that there would be a nice, pretty conversion story to convince people that there was something authentic at the basis of the marriage of the Roman military empire and Christianity. The Roman military empire merged with Christianity to become the Holy Roman Empire. But the paganism, the indigenous paganism of the people who lived under the Roman Empire, did not merge with Christianity at all. So you have to make that distinction.
And do you think it's therefore today that we have a lot of the pagan blend, if you know what I mean, with Christianity? In that sense, we can look at the winter solstice celebration.
It's very kind to call it a blend, Henrik. It's just a pure ripoff. One remark that I found quite alarming occurs in the beginning of this film called Esoteric Agenda, which is an expose in some respects of the Codex Alimentarius. And one of the remarks, I think this film is done by someone called Ben Sherman.
Ben Stewart. We've had him on the program, actually, yes.
One of the things that Ben Stewart says is that Christianity is permeated with pagan symbolism and ritual. And he infers from that paganism survives in a manner in Christianity. He says paganism in its evolution, that's his exact term, meaning as it developed or morphed, paganism morphed or survived in Christianity. Nothing could be less true at all. Let me give you an analogy. Suppose a group of people came into your house, of your family, of you and your brothers and sisters and your mother and father, and they took everything that's in your house, all of your personal belongings, your records, your diaries, your clothes, and they moved them to another house and wore all your clothes and kept all your diaries and photographs around and actually took over your life and stole your identity. But they could not actually live your life, could they?
No.
It would be a stolen identity. So likewise, paganism, the true life of paganism, could never be stolen. And so the true life and spirit of paganism did not survive in Christianity, did not survive at all